This is my first video. I'm glad that you're watching it. To complete this video, what I will need you to do is you will need to have your workbook, a piece of paper, and a pencil. Go ahead and get that stuff now if you don't have it, and pause the video because you will need that to work along with me while I'm working with it. So what I'm going to do, I am going to solve one problem first, and then you guys are going to try a problem, and then you'll play the video to see if you did it correctly. And then I'll do another problem, and then you'll do one. Okay, so first problem is an addition problem. I have 9 3/10 plus 4 6/10. First thing I need to do here is I need to write the problem vertically and line up the place values. So my decimal points line up, my ones place line up, and my tenths place line up. From there, it's as simple as adding. Adding and subtracting is very easy. I drop the decimal points down. If I was multiplying, I would have to do a little more work to figure out where my decimal point would go. Alright, at this point in the video, what I would like you to do is I would like you to try number 2. You try number 2, pause the video, and when you're finished, play the video and see if your problem is right. Pause the video now. Okay, so you should be back. Hopefully you have successfully answered the questions. We need to first line up the problem. So please check and see if you lined it up correctly. It should be lined up like that. So the hundredths place, tenths place, decimal place, and ones place are all lined up. After that, it's just adding. 6 and 9, 15, 1, 7, and 1. That's 9, 3 and 4. That's 7. Drop our decimal point down. So we should have 7 and 95 hundredths. Check yours. If you do, give yourself a pat on the back. If not, I want you to fix it so that way you can see the mistake you made. So fix it as we go if you missed it. Alright, a subtracting problem. Now, on the subtracting problem, we have the same kind of idea. I'm going to solve one and then you're going to solve one. Step 1, write the problem vertically just like with adding. Line up the place values. My tenths place, my ones place, and my decimal place are all lined up. If I subtract here, 6 minus 4 is 2. 1 minus 5, I can't do that, so I need to use the whole thing there. That's going to be 11 minus 5 is 6. Bring my decimal down. That's 6 and 2/10. Okay, originally I was going to do number 4, but I realized I wanted to make sure I went over something. Something that a lot of times students will mess up on is when they need to subtract the decimal numbers and there's not quite the right amount of numbers to make it line up. So on number 6, we're actually going to do one that's a little tricky. We're going to do number 6 on the next page, on page 4, which is 85 minus 47 and 34 hundredths. Well, let's take a look at an example here. And you'll find these in the book, and these are very helpful. In this problem, we had a similar kind of problem. We had to subtract a whole number minus a number with a decimal in it. Now, it's important that you know that this is going to be the top, and that's going to be the bottom. It doesn't matter which number is longer. It doesn't matter which number is greater. Actually, next year, when you learn more about negative numbers, you'll be subtracting bigger numbers from smaller numbers. But what matters is the first one, which is how much you have, and the second one, which is how much you're taking away. To do this, they had to annex zeros on there. Okay? So you are going to have to annex zeros in number 6. What I want you to do is try to set up the problem and solve it correctly, and remember to annex zeros. So what I want you to do right now, go ahead and pause the video, solve the problem, and then play the video to see if you got it right. Okay. If you're coming back to the video, then I will assume that you are finished with the problem. And the hardest thing with adding and subtracting is setting up the problem correctly. So here's how the problem should be set up. My ones places are lined up, my tens. There's no decimal point in this, there's no tenths or hundredths, but we can add those on. So I'm going to annex zeros here, and I'm going to run into an issue because 0 minus 4, I can't do 0 minus 4. So I'm going to have to borrow, but there's nothing there, so I'm going to have to borrow all the way over here to make that a 4, which will make this one 10. But then I need to borrow from that, make that 9, and I'll take that to be 10. 10 minus 4, 6. 9 minus 3, 6. 4 minus 7. Can't do it. Sometimes students will mess up and do 7 minus 4 there. You're going to have to borrow again. Now we got 14 minus 7. 7 and 7 minus 4, 3. Adding and subtracting is easy. Just got to bring the decimal point down. Adding and subtracting, the biggest challenge that you have is in the problem setup. If you set the problem up correctly, you're going to do great. If you set the problem up incorrectly, you're going to have a bad time. That is pretty much it for the video. Here's what I want you to do. If you have any questions for me, I want you to write them on your paper so that you won't forget them before you see me again. All right? Have a good day. Don't forget to bring your homework.